Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rana. I am from the Majlis Ahmadiyya Board of Peace, Toronto, Canada, and I am in grade 7. My project for the Abdussalam Science Fair today is the most common cognitive bias. Introduction. Cognitive bias and math. Not something you would think would go hand in hand. However, in this experiment, I would use math to try to figure out the most common cognitive bias. Be aware that there will be no experiment in this project, as this is a research project of collecting data. My hypothesis for the 2022 Abdussalam Science Fair is the most common cognitive misconception trying to confirm if you're right instead of trying to disprove yourself? Okay, the best way to look at this problem is to first go into the experiment, the data collection I did. Because the best way to understand the problem is to ask a question. Here's what I did. To test the most common cognitive bias, I got a sample of the local population, 10 people in this case, to test. These people came from different age groups and different teaching styles. I gave them 3 numbers, 2, 4, and 8, and told them to guess the rule. I gave them an outline on how to do so as well. Give your own 3 sets of numbers, and if you find out the rule along with it. Before I continue on to how I was right, I would like to state some trends, such as almost all of the participants started with doubling. Many of them mentioned multiples. Girls answered quicker at a rate of 4 minutes and 11 seconds, while boys lagged behind at 5 minutes and 48 seconds. The older the people were, the slower they got. And now, let's move on to the contradiction. 5 people gave up. 5 people contradicted themselves later on. This proves a theory, but you may be wondering how. Our brains have a certain way of perceiving things. The white swan is a great example. If you hear the sentence, all swans are white, and all the swans you saw were white, you would think that this statement is true. Our brain takes data, and if it thinks it's right, it will say it's right. It will not look for false evidence. If it did, people would question if all swans were actually white and find out that some are black. Through my research, I realized I was correct. The most common cognitive bias is a very, very interesting topic because it not only goes unnoticed, it can also cloud your judgment. In the field of science, always question the hardest theories and the ones you create because they might just end up being false. I would like to end off with a Quranic verse. There are many signs for the seeker after truth. Surah Yusuf, verse 8.